for the gym in your car around 11:40 or so. And what gym was that?
LA Fitness.
Okay, is that a gym you'd been to before?
Yes.
Were you a member there?
Yes.
And you knew your mom to be also?
Yes.
Okay. What were you going to the gym for? Obviously, were you going there to work out?
Yes.
All right. Tell us what happened when you got to the gym.
We got to the gym, we went on the treadmills, we worked out our legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you know, you did the workout then, do you know, back then, did you know who Rob Baker was?
Yes.
Okay, did you see him at the gym that day?
No. We saw her trainer, Matt.
And People's Sport team, Rob Baker?
Yes.
Okay. So you did a workout, and then did you leave? How long were you there?
Not even an hour.
Okay, so if you left around 12:43, you've seen video in court, does that sound about right?
Yes.
And then what happened? You went straight home?
Yes, we went home.
Okay, tell us about when you got home, if you can walk through who was there and what happened.
When I got home, it was me, my mom, and my dad. I left with my friend Sahar to pick up kids that she was nannying because she didn't want to go alone. And then I came back, and it was just Dad.
Okay. Now, by the way, when you're at the gym, you said that you're on the treadmill and you did legs. Your mom didn't play racquetball.
No.
Okay. And you didn't play racquetball.
No, I never played.
When you got home, you saw your dad. What was your dad doing when you got home? A little around like 12:45, 1 o'clock, that time frame.
Working on the computer in the island kitchen.
He was still at the same
Yes.
place?
Yes.
And then you left again, is that what you said?
Yes.
Where did you go?
With my friend Sahar to pick up kids that she was nannying at Hale Middle School.
And do you know what time that was?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it was immediately when I got back from the gym, and then I came back right after that.
All right, so when you got home, your dad was at the counter. Did you guys have lunch or anything?
Yes, he made me lunch.
Okay. And your mom had lunch with you guys?
No, she left at this point.
Okay, do you know where she went at this point?
No, she said she was going to run errands.
Now, if you got home at about, let's say you got home closer to 1, right? And then does it sound right you went to pick up the kids about 2:30?
Yeah,
Had your mom left before you left to go pick up those kids?
I don't recall.
Okay, but she went to go run an errand.
Yes.
Did you see her again that day?
No.
Okay. So she left before you ever left to
Yes.
go pick up the kids. So you went to go pick up these kids and you came back. What time did you come back?
In time to leave for babysitting at like 3:40, so.
So you were gone less than an hour?
Yes.
And when you came back, where was your dad?
At the island kitchen,
What was he doing, if you remember?
working on the computer.
Do you know anything about a power washer that day, him fixing or taking a power washer in to be repaired?
No.
Do you remember telling the detectives that in February of 2021 that he'd been trying to fix a power washer over the weekend? Does that ring a bell?
No.
Okay, that's okay. And then your dad had a Porsche, right?
Yes.
Had he just gotten that Porsche?
Yes.
Where did he keep it?
In the garage.
And where did you park?
I parked on the street.
Where did your sister park?
In the driveway.
What did your sister drive at that time?
A red Fiat.
And then what was your mom driving during that time?
Either the Fiat or Dad's old truck.
Is that the F-150?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, when you come and go from your house, how do you exit your house?
Through the front door and through the gate, but the gate to the house is almost always open.
And which gate are you talking about?
The front gate to the house, it's almost always open. We just close it at night.
All right. And then do you also exit through the garage?
No.
One moment. Okay, so you came back then, and then when you came back, you left to go babysit. What time were you supposed to babysit?
I think at 4:30.
So you left around 3:40, you thought?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
For her to type. All right, so walk us through then. You went to go babysit. What happened then?
I went to go babysit. The mother, Deborah, left to go run errands, which is normal when I was babysitting. And she came back very soon after, maybe 30 minutes to an hour and told me to go home right away, and she wouldn't tell me why, and so I just left.
What time was that about, do you know?
Probably 5:40.
And who was this that you were babysitting for?
Deborah Obad's child, Max.
And how did you know Deborah?
She was our neighbor when we first moved to California in Tarzana.
Was she good friends with your mom?
Yes.
Was she good friends with your dad?
Yes.
And then did you know her fairly well?
Yes.
Did you guys ever socialize with Deborah Obad? Or Obad?
Yes.
What about, was she married?
Yes.
And who was her husband?
Mike Campler.
So would you consider them good family friends?
Yes.
Now, after everything happened, and I'm talking about your mom's arrest, did you end up living with Deborah?
No.
Did you ever stay with her?
Yes.
And how long did you stay with them?
A night or two.
Okay. All right. So that night then, on January 23rd, 2017, after you're babysitting at Deborah's, you haven't been there very long, she comes back and tells you, what, you need to go home.
Yes.
Did she appear to you worried, upset?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask her why or what's going on?
Of course.
Okay. What happened?
She wouldn't tell me. She told me to go home, and they'll explain it when I get home.
So what did you do?
I went home.
How long did it take you to get home from Deborah's house?
Not even 10 minutes. She lived very close.
So shortly, would you say after 5 you arrived home?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Did you park? Where did you park?
On the street.
And walk us through then what happened when you got home. Where did you walk in?
When I pulled up to the house, I noticed all the fire trucks, and so I parked. I walked towards the house. I noticed the garage door was open, which was not normal. And I walked to the garage. All the firemen are there, and one of the firemen just said, "Your dad's dead." First thing I heard, and I walked inside. They told me not to look outside or look at the kitchen, and I didn't. I kept my head down, and I walked into our dining room, which was adjacent to the kitchen. And Mom's in shock, and Bella's not talking, and no one's telling me what's going on.
Okay. I'm sorry to go through this again. We'll try to get through this. The firemen told you that outside?
Yes.
So when you went inside then, you saw your mom and your sister. Where were they?
At the kitchen table.
Okay. And what were they doing?
Mom is inconsolable, screaming, crying. Bella's not speaking.
Okay. Now, what did you see as far as the scene?
I didn't see anything. I kept my head down, and we were in the living room, or the kitchen table, the dining room. There's nothing to see there.
Okay. Did you see some blood in the house? We won't talk about outside.
On the floor, I saw a little bit when I
Okay.
kept my head down.
Did you see any on your mom?
No.
Did you tell the police that you'd seen blood on her hands?
No.
You didn't tell the police that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Would looking at a transcript refresh your recollection on that, possibly?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. And I'm going to move on while I'm talking to you. What did you do then when you sat down?
Just asking questions to the officers what was going on. And they kept saying they have no answers for us.
Okay, so what happened next, and how long were you inside?
I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember the rest of that night at all. I remember going to the neighbor's house across the street because they told us we couldn't be in the house anymore. I don't know how long after that was when I got home. And then I remember being interviewed a million times after that at the neighbor's house.
So what neighbor's house did you go to?
Her name is Vanessa. I can't remember her husband's name.
Now, did other people arrive at the house when you were there with your mom and your sister?
Yes, I had my friend Sahar come. My sister had her boyfriend at the time come. And Mom had her friend Elise come.
One moment. So, who are those friends? Can you describe who those friends are?
My friend Sahar, I knew her from school. Isabella's boyfriend at the time, she's from school, and Elise was from the gym.
Okay. Now, you knew Elise pretty well?
Not pretty, I just knew of her because I saw her at the gym, and I did a yoga class with her once.
Okay, and at that time you really liked Elise, and it was your mom's friend?
Yes.
Okay. What happened then as far as when you went across the street, what happened?
I was interviewed by the detectives that were there
What did they ask you?
to run through the day and questions about,
What had happened?
Yes,
What
yes.
you'd done that day?
yes,
Okay. Now, did you ever have any like crisis team people come and talk to
Yes.
you or anything like that?
yes,
When did that happen?
at the neighbor's house.
After that, did you ever do any counseling or any kind of therapy, anything like that to date?
I didn't, Isabella did.
Did you just choose not to?
Correct.
You didn't want to do it?
Right.
Okay. Now, before you went to your babysitting job, do you remember your mom just texting you, don't be late, and kind of going back and forth with that?
I don't remember it happening that day, but she always did that.
Texted you about your babysitting appointments?
If she knew about them, yes.
Okay, so she knew you had a babysitting appointment.
Maybe. I don't know about that day. Sometimes she knew, sometimes she didn't know.
Well, if she texted you, don't be late for babysitting, then...
But I'm saying I don't know if she texted me that day.
Okay.
If she did, then she knew, but
Okay.
I don't remember.
Typically, it's something you told her.
Not typically. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay, so... One moment. And your friend Sahar came over then when you were across the street with the neighbors?
Yes.
Now, where did you sleep that night?
At Deb's house.
That's Deborah Obad?
Deborah Obad.
Obad. All right. I want to ask you some questions then about your video surveillance system.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a video surveillance system in your house, right?
Yes.
And that was cameras that were hooked up around your house?
Yes.
Now, do you know if those cameras were working during the time frame of January 2017?
Yes.
They were working?
To my knowledge, yes.
So inside your house, you had a monitor that sat on the kitchen?
It was inside the garage, right outside. Once you open the door from the kitchen, on the right-hand side, there was the monitor there with the VCR for the cameras.
Okay, so I'm talking about the actual screen where you
It
could
was in the
see-
garage.
And did you have it in the kitchen at one point on the counter?
Not that I remember.
Okay. And in the garage, actually where the Porsche's parked, you had the DVR boxes there on top of that, kind of a white,
Yes.
like a refrigerator or a cabinet or
Yes.
something?
And the monitor was on top of that.
When you knew that the monitor was on top of that?
Yes, that's where we went to go look for the cameras. It was never inside the kitchen that I remember. It was always inside the garage, the monitor.
Okay. I'm going to show you a photo in a minute. I'm talking about in your kitchen, there's a counter and then there's a big monitor. You don't remember that being in your kitchen?
No, I remember like maybe at one point it was, but I remember that most of the time it was in the garage.
Okay. Was that after, are you remembering that after the murder happened, it was put in the garage?
No, because it was gone at that point. So no, it was before. At some point it was in the garage. Maybe at some point it was inside the kitchen, but
Okay. Do you recall being able to view your cameras when you're in your house or your garage, wherever
Yes.
you believe it to be? You could view the camera footage from the outside around the house.
yes,
Okay. So then the day of this, as far as your DVR system, did you have access to it on your phone?
no,
Do you know that you could access it from a phone?
yes.
Did your mom have access to it on your phone, on her phone?
Both mom and dad.
And how did you know that?
Because when they came to set it up sometime in 2016, I was there, so I heard them talking about the app that it was connected to.
You heard who talking about it?
The person setting up the cameras.
And who is he talking to?
Mom and dad.
Okay. You remember your mom and dad being there?
Yes.
Okay. And he was explaining how to set up the cameras on your phone to view it on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Did your mom then ever talk about being able to log in from her phone to view the cameras?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, had there been a time where she saw you on camera and commented to you that she saw you come in, you're leaving, or something like that?
No.
Okay. She just had mentioned that she could view it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as that system, after this happened, you never, to your knowledge, set up a new camera system, right? Meaning you never reinstalled them, plugged them in, got the cameras working again.
Correct.
Stop going.
Did you ever, to your knowledge, get the cameras working again or plugged in again or whatever, a new DVR box?
No.
Now, did that make you concerned knowing what had happened in your house?
No, because the detectives said that it was a knock-knock burglar and they wouldn't do it again, so I wasn't worried.
So you weren't afraid?
No.
Okay. What about going on the back patio? You said the day of it, you didn't go out there and you didn't see your dad, right?
Correct.
Now, did it concern you at all about the back patio or going out there, anything like that?
After the fact?
Yes.
No.
You weren't concerned?
No, I felt close to my dad when I sat outside there.
Okay. Is that a place that your dad hung out a lot?
Yes, all the time.
And did he have we've talked about it, his favorite chair?
Yes.
Did he work out there a lot?
Yes.
And when did he work out there? Was it during the week or on the weekends?
If he didn't go to work for some reason, and I'd find him out there, during the day, or sometimes on the weekend. Sure, he's on his computer back there, but most of the time it was for watching TV outside.
Did he work from home sometimes?
Yes.
How often did he work from home?
Not often.
Did you know in advance when he was working from home?
Most of the time, no.
And when he worked from home, did he work on the patio then?
Or inside.
Sometimes.
Yes, depending on how hot it was.
Now, when you were there that morning, was your housekeeper there, Delia?
I've been, I know that she's there from transcripts and things I've seen, but I don't remember her because I was sleeping.
Do you typically see Delia there?
Yes.
And she comes on Mondays? Every other Monday?
I don't know.
All right. So, does she come every other week, basically?
I did not. I didn't know.
Okay. Had your dad then been home for the past every other week on Mondays?
Not that I remember.
You don't remember? Were you home those days, or do you not remember?
No, I was probably out.
I'm sorry?
I was probably out.
Okay. So as far as the alarm system, you never hooked up. What about your alarm system in your house? Do you have an alarm system?
Yes.
After this murder happened, did you start setting the alarm system?
Yes.
Okay, did you tell the detectives back in June that you didn't even know how to set it and you didn't set it anymore?
I didn't know how to set it, but the people who, like my aunt and my grandmother who came, they would set the alarm.
When they were there?
Yes.
I guess my question is, when you were there with you, your mom, and your sister, did you tell the detectives then in June of 2014 that nobody sets the alarm?
Right.
Did you kind of get to the point where you, as your immediate family, you didn't set an alarm?
Correct.
Okay, is there a reason why?
No.
Had you been setting the alarm before this murder?
No.
Didn't your dad set it at night?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
All right. Now, what about being home alone? Did you have any concern about being home alone?
I didn't.
When you say that, did your sister express concern to you?
Yes.
And what was she telling you?
That she was scared to be home alone and she didn't want to be, so to have us come home.
Okay. And at this point now, after the murder, are you and your sister close? Right now, let's say that.
Today, yes.
Were you close back then?
It was a very rocky relationship after the murder.
Why is that?
Because there was a lot of family fighting, so it was just
Okay.
hard on her, hard on me.
And she was 16 and you were 18?
Yes.
Okay, so it strained your relationship a little bit?
Yes.
All right. So she was afraid to be at home, but you felt okay?
Yes.
All right. Did you tell the detectives also back in June of 14th that if one of us is here alone, like we just don't like to be here? I mean, is that fair? You didn't really like to be home alone?
Correct.
All right.
But
And
not
then-
because I'm scared, just because I don't want to be home alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you tell the detectives also that we go somewhere else and we often go and sleep at Deborah's house? Did that happen?
Not often. We did not sleep at her house often. So I don't remember if I said that or not.
All right. So, but there was a degree of you didn't want to be home alone for whatever
Correct.
reason might be. I'm going to ask you some questions then about Rob Baker. Now, there was a time before the murder, back in 2016, where you saw Rob in your house, right?
Yes.
How many times before the murder had you seen Rob in your house?
That was the only time before that I saw him in the house.
Okay. And can you tell us well, first of all, was there a time when you found him in your mom's bedroom in her bed?
Yes.
What time frame are we talking about, if you remember?
I don't remember the time frame, but I think I was already graduated from high school. I was going to class or I was going to work. So around that time.
2016?
Yes.
Okay. So in 2016, then, one day, can you explain what you remember happening, how you found him?
Yes, I went to my mother's bathroom to take mascara or something because I like to do my mascara in her bathroom. And I didn't notice anything, but when I came out, I noticed Rob in her bed.
And what time was that?
It was in the morning, so I don't know, 10, 11 a.m., maybe earlier.
Did you tell the police about 7 a.m.?
Maybe. Sure, if I was working, then that's 7 a.m.
Okay. Not trying to trick you, I just want to...
No, I just don't remember.
Okay. 7 a.m. you went into your mom's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And I say that because at the time, did your dad sleep in the other room?
Yes.
All right. So you went into your mom's bedroom, and what did you see?
I went to the bathroom first, and then when I left the bathroom, I saw Rob in the bed.
And you recognized him?
Yes.
How did you know what he looked like?
Because I went to LA Fitness, and I knew that he was a racquetball coach, whatever, there.
Had you seen your mom playing racquetball with him before that?
Sure, yes, amongst other people, though, too.
Who else?
Elise, Faye, but there was a whole tournament. There was a whole league there, so a bunch of people.
All right. So you recognized him as being in from the gym. And what did you do?
I didn't say anything. I just ran out of the room, and I called my mom.
Okay, and what did you say to your mom?
I asked, why is Rob in the bed?
And what did she tell you?
She told me that he doesn't drink often. They had a party last night. Her friend Sheila, I think, they all came over, and he doesn't drink often. He got drunk, and so he slept it off.
Well, did she tell you that he and Sheila spent the night?
Yes.
Did you see Sheila there?
No.
Did you see Sheila there the night before?
I wasn't there the night before.
Okay. So you didn't see her. You don't know.
Correct.
All right. So this is what your mom told you.
Yes.
But that morning you didn't see Sheila. You just saw Rob.
Yes.
All right. And how did you know Sheila? From the gym?
Yes.
All right. What happened then?
My mom told me, and I had no other reason to believe otherwise, so I believed her.
All right. Did you say anything to Rob?
No.
Did he say anything to you?
No.
Did you just leave the room then?
Yes.
Did you ever see him leave?
No, I was leaving the house, so I didn't see him.
So when you left, was he, to your knowledge, alone in the house?
Yes.
Okay. And your mom was dropping off your sister at school? So when you left then, did she tell you not to tell your dad?
No.
Now, you said you weren't home the night before. But didn't you tell the police in February of 21st of 2017 that you heard your mom come home at about 2:30 in the morning?
At that point, I was home, but I wasn't, like, home for their party or whatever.
Okay. So let's back up then. That night, the night before you found Rob in your mom's bed, you were home that night earlier, or you were home at some point that night?
Yes.
Did you ever see any of your mom's friends come over that night?
No, I was in my room.
Around 2 o'clock, did you hear your mom come home?
If I said so back then yes.
Well, do you want to look, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you want to look at a transcript to
Sure.
refresh your memory? All right, let me get that for you.
Council, while you're doing that, let's take our morning recess for 15 minutes.
Okay.
The evidence applies. We'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Present, all council present, jury and alternates are present. Ms. Sementilli, you're still under oath, and you may continue, Ms. Lego.
One moment. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to show you Exhibit 129, which is up on the screen there. That's the monitor I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is your kitchen, though, right?
Yes, that monitor was not always there, though. It was also at one point in the garage.
Okay. What point, if you remember, in your mind, was it in the garage?
when it first was put in, and then they eventually put it there.
So at the time of this incident, it was in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, just clarifying that one. Just going back to a couple questions, and we'll go back. When you were went to the gym with your mom that morning, anything happened at the gym? Any injuries that you recall?
No.
Okay. Your mom leave with any kind of bloody towel or anything like that?
No.
Okay. No conversation about that at all?
No.
Now, I asked you earlier also about when you got to the scene, when you went into the scene, and I'm backing up, I know, and we'll get back to what we were talking about. When you got to the scene, when you went inside and you saw your mom and sister, and I asked you, did you see any blood on either one of them? Do you recall seeing any blood on either one of them?
Today, I do not recall that.
Okay, if I showed you a transcript, would that possibly refresh your memory on that?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the transcript from January 23rd, 2016, page 11. 2017, I'm sorry. Page 11, lines 4 through 6. Okay. You can back up if you need to, just to get reference. Just read it to yourself.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with your sister. Did you see some blood on her?
On her shoes.
Okay, and then your mom?
On her hands.
Okay, so you saw, as you testified earlier, blood within the house.
Yes.
Did it look like it had been like tracked through also with footsteps?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I saw. It was footprints.
Footprints and then
And-
these two
yeah.
additional. All right, no problem. And then one other follow-up. When you talked about leaving the house, you said that you usually left, did you say through the front door?
Yes.
Now, did you tell the detectives in February that you usually left through the garage?
Well, before my dad had the Porsche, we would leave through the garage. Then when he got the Porsche, he wanted that door closed, so I would leave through the front door.
Okay, but during your interview in February 21 of 2017, they asked you then how you left, and you were talking about the Porsche, and at that point you said you still left through the garage.
This is of 2021?
Yes, do you
Correct.
recall that?
Yeah, we don't have the Porsche anymore, so yes, I would go out that door.
Okay.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Did you 2021?
You had an interview with, you had an interview with the detectives, no, on February 21, 2017, I said that
Oh,
on
yeah.
here.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I got confused.
And during that time, they asked you, like, how do you normally leave the house? And you said through the garage.
Okay. I left both equally then.
Okay. Well, is it fair that you left through the garage most of the time? That's how I leave the house usually. Is that fair?
I don't remember.
Would looking at a transcript refresh your memory?
If I said it, then sure. I don't have to look at it. Thank you, though.
Would you like to just look at it?
Okay.
I'm not trying to put words. I just
No,
want
I
you to
know.
look at it.
I know. It's 8 years ago.
All right, February 21, 2017 transcript, and it's lines 12 through 20. Page 77.
Okay.
Okay. Is that fair then? At that time, you usually left through the garage?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you also tell them that during that time when you're at the crime scene that, do you recall going and sitting in the garage?
That day?
Yes.
No.
Did you tell them you went and sat in the garage and you saw some blood where the Porsche had been?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right, going back to the night, rewinding now, in 2016, what we were talking about before lunch, when you found Rob in your mom's bed, where was your dad during that time?
I don't know. On a business trip or working?
Okay, did you tell the police that he was on a business trip?
I don't know.
Would you like to refresh your memory of the
Sure.
transcript? All right.
You just answered on business.
Or working.
All right. And this is transcript from February 21st, 2017, page 81. And we have lines 15, sorry, at line 15. All right. You can just review this highlighted part to yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so the time that you found Rob in your mom's bed, your dad was on a business trip.
Yes.
Now, did you tell anyone about what you'd seen as far as Rob being in your mom's bed besides your mom?
My friends.
Okay, did you tell Deborah Obad?
I don't remember.
Obad, I'm saying it wrong.
I don't remember.
Did you tell your dad?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't know. I probably forgot about it.
Did your mom tell you not to tell your dad?
Not that I remember.
So as far as Rob Baker, then let's talk about what happened then after your dad was killed. Did you start seeing Rob Baker more frequently?
Yes.
And can you explain what kind of occurred after your dad was killed as far as Rob Baker being in the picture?
Yes. I went to a Denny's that was on Winnetka and Ventura with my sister and my cousin. And we asked for a table of 3 and we got sat down next to him, which I thought was a coincidence. And that same trip that my cousin was here, I got a flat tire and my sister was in the car behind me and we pulled into the median, and then I noticed, like, not even a minute or two later, I saw Rob's car and Rob in his car pass by and he made a U-turn, and then he was going to help me with my car.
Okay. And you said, I thought that was weird. So
Yeah.
you thought these things were weird with Rob.
Yes.
Now, you didn't tell the police any of this, any issue about Rob, right? You never told them any of this.
No, that's argument.
Overruled.
I don't.
One moment. So, sorry, you never told the police any of this back then, and anything about this weirdness, Rob and Denny's and flat tire, you never told them any of that.
I-
They get to when, Your Honor.
It's overruled on that grounds, but you're not asking a question, counsel.
Did you ever tell them anything that you're saying in court right now to the police?
I don't know. In hindsight, after the fact, it was weird, but I don't know if in the moment I said anything.
Okay, so hindsight when you talked to the defense team?
No, hindsight, like after being talked to by the detectives and stuff, I was like thinking that it's weird. I don't know if I said anything to the detectives because they might have not even asked me about it.
Okay. But you talked about Rob with the detectives.
Yes.
And in June 14th, you talked to the detectives a lot about Rob, in depth about how much you liked him, right?
Yeah, because I did like him at one point.
Okay, you called him a close family friend?
Yes.
You said you knew him really well? Right?
Yes.
Okay, you said he's been really nice to you since this happened?
Yes.
Okay. You also responded that he was a really good friend and he was your mom's racquetball coach, right?
Yes.
Did you tell him that he'd come over all the time? He'd come over for dinner and stuff?
I don't remember him coming over for dinner.
Would you like to look at a transcript to refresh your recollection? And the question actually is, did you tell the detectives that?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'll show you a transcript. And this is the June 14th, 2017 transcript, page 25. Oops, let me just review that. Does you remember your first?
Yes.
Okay. So did you just tell the detectives that you really liked him? He came over to dinner a lot?
He did not come over for dinner a lot. He did maybe come over once or twice. I remember a dinner when my dad was there, but that's the only one I can recall.
Well, we're talking about after the murder,
Yes.
okay? And that your mom played racquetball with him a lot,
Yes.
right? You told the detectives your mom had known him for over a year.
Yes.
And during that year, had you seen him only at the gym and that one time in your mom's bed?
Yes.
Okay. did you tell the detectives that Rob comes over a lot now, meaning this is post murder, this is June 2017?
I don't remember.
Would you like to look at the transcript again?
Sure.
All right. Same date, page 27, June 14th.
Is this the right one?
Yeah. Does that refresh your memory?
I mean, yeah, I just read this one. Yeah.
Does that refresh your memory?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you tell the detectives that he came over a lot?
Yes.
Okay. So you liked him.
Yes.
And do you tell the detectives that he fixed your car for you?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, my car broke down. I don't know what the issue was, and he said he had a good mechanic, so he took it to his mechanic.
And did he come and pick you up and take you anywhere, anything like that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did he bring over cars to show you?
He had a cool car. I don't remember what it was, but I remember his car, so he just showed me because I like cars, and at that time I really liked cars.
Did he show you? Did you tell the detectives that he had like 4 of them and he'd bring them over to you?
Yes.
Okay. And what were those for? What did he do?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You know, I have a recording and a accompanied transcript. Do you know when you talk to the detectives that your interview, and just this portion, that your interview with the detectives was recorded?
No, I never knew any of my interviews ever were recorded.
Okay. If I may mark as People's 230, it's a short. Okay. All right. Back to, you didn't know you were being recorded?
Right.
Okay, they didn't tell you you were being recorded. Have you listened to any of those recordings?
No.
Now, did you also tell the detectives that he comes a lot and just wants to make sure we're safe and stuff?
Yes.
The day of June 14th, you remember that day?
No.
What was that the day your mom was arrested?
Oh, then yes.
2017.
Yeah.
That day then, had your mom been on a trip before that?
I think so.
To Toronto? Or
Yes.
New York or
Yeah,
Toronto?
yeah.
When she got home then, was there something going on where Rob had her car?
Not that I recall.
Do you want to look at a transcript?
Sure.
Okay. I know it's been a long time. You haven't had a chance to review this, right?
No, I have. A few. I have.
You have reviewed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only once, though. I don't like reading it.
Okay, that's fine. And it's, again, June 14th, 2017, page 30. And if you can just start page 8, just to refresh your memory.
Okay. Do you want me to?
Is that, no, that's okay. I think this was the next, we went into this page. Is that enough?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that day then, did your memory refresh? Did Rob have your mom's car?
Yes.
Okay, and why did he have her car? Do you know?
I think he was taking it also to the mechanic.
Okay, so he helped you out with getting the car fixed and things of that nature?
Yes.
And then the detectives asked you for Rob's cell phone, right? Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you had his cell phone number in your phone?
I don't remember. I think I did.
You know I'm going to come back right now, right? All right, would refreshing your memory help?
Yes, he had my number.
All right, but you don't remember what that number is?
Yeah,
Off the top of your
I
head,
don't know
sure.
his number.
All right, if I could approach. And this is page 32, June 14th. All right. There you go. Just talk to me.
Okay.
All right, does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
His number that you gave the police, 213-272-1093. That's the number you have for Rob as of June 14th, 2017, correct?
Yes.
All right. Did you communicate with Rob then yourself? Like, did you text him or call him or anything of that nature?
Not really, but maybe sometimes, like, hey, I'm coming to the gym today. Can you save me this workout machine? If I text it in.
So during that time frame then, you talked about hindsight, but during this whole time frame of from when your dad, well, let's talk about back in 2016 until after your mom was arrested, you didn't have any problem with Rob Baker. You liked him.
Yes.
And you considered him a close family friend.
Yes.
It's been asked and answered.
And then at some point you changed your mind.
Yes.
And that's after you met with the defense attorneys, correct?
No, that was the day my mom was arrested.
Okay, well this is, on the day that you're arrested is the day that you're talking to the police.
But I don't know if she's arrested at that point.
Okay. You knew she was arrested the next day.
No, that later at that transcript, they say that they tell me that she's arrested. I had no idea for an hour.
And let's go through that. So on the day of your mom's arrest, the police came over to your house, right?
Yes.
And then what did they tell you they were there for?
Just to look at the, like, take more stuff for the knock-knock burglar thing they were telling me about. So looking through the house again and taking some of our electronics and stuff.
So did they recover then or take some of your computers?
Yes.
Not your, well, maybe yours and your
Yes.
mom's computers, phones, things of that nature?
Yes.
Or electronics? Okay, and then at some point during that interview, they ultimately ended up telling you that your mom was arrested, is that right?
Yes.
Did they also tell you Rob was arrested?
Yes.
All right. And then who came, was anyone with you then for support after this happened?
Yes, I called Deb to come over.
All right.
And then the next day my aunt and my grandmother came.
So Deborah Obad came over.
Yes.
And then your aunt, what's her name?
Anna,
And is that your mom's sister?
my mom's older sister.
And then who else came?
My grandmother.
And they flew in from
Toronto.
Toronto. Okay. And then they stayed with you.
Yes.
Now, one moment. Did you get then, so you'd been interviewed now, you'd been interviewed the day it happened on January 23rd, 2017, and then they interviewed you again, which you've refreshed your memory, February, you remember that? Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
For her. And then in June, we just went through this interview, and some of it centered on Rob Baker, correct?
Yes.
But at this point, you didn't know that he'd been arrested,
Correct.
and then they told you after this interview. Is that right?
After the interview, yes.
About when you talked about Rob and how much you liked
Right after
him,
that.
you didn't know he was arrested yet.
Correct.
And then you found out he was arrested.
Correct.
And then you found out your mom was arrested.
Yes.
Is that right? And the police called you the next day. Do you remember that phone call?
No.
Would you like to look at a transcript? It's very short, just
Yes.
to refresh your memory. And this is the June 15th, 2017 transcript. You can just kind of look at the first couple pages.
Sorry, what page?
I just told you to look at the transcript in general, because to refresh your memory, they called her the first couple. Does that refresh your memory
Yes.
then? Okay, and why did the detectives, what did they ask you the day after the murder?
Objection, that's irrelevant.
I'm sorry, not the day after the murder.
So ruled.
The day after the arrest, on June 15th, what did they call and ask you questions about?
About what I did that day.
The day of the murder?
Yeah.
And they asked you if you or your mom played racquetball, and like you
Yes.
testified, you said no.
Yes.
Right? And they asked if anything unusual happened that morning, you said no.
Right.
And they also asked you if Rob was at the gym that you saw him that morning, you said no, right?
Correct.
Objection, you could have asked an answer.
So ruled.
Now, after this, you found out that your mom and Rob were both arrested. And after this phone call with the police, when you interviewed them, did you ever do an interview with the police again?
I don't remember. Not that I remember.
Okay. But you did interview multiple times with the defense attorneys, right?
With their private investigator.
And some of the attorneys, right?
Correct.
Okay. So on August 29th, 2.5 months after your mother's arrest, you went to the law offices of the defense attorneys and you interviewed with their private investigator?
Yes.
And that was Adam Dawson?
Yes.
So they asked you a lot of questions?
Yes.
And then on October 15 of 2021, you went there again, right, to their office?
Yes.
And you interviewed with Mr. Levine, who's in court, and his investigator, correct?
Yes.
And they asked you questions again about those days.
Yes.
And then in January 6th of 2022, you went to the law offices again and interviewed with Mr. Levine and Mr. Babbage and their investigator, right?
Yes.
And you answered, again, questions that they asked you.
Yes.
Do you know if that interview was recorded?
No.
You don't know, or it was not?
I didn't know.
Did you ever see a transcript of that interview provided to you?
Not a transcript, but like a typed up thing.
A typed up report?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear an audio of your interview?
No.
And during, did you ever interview with them again at any other time?
I've met with Mr. Levine many times, for updates on the case, to speak with Adam. But yeah,
And you said you met with him many times. Where did you meet?
at his office, or he would come to our house.
Okay, so both places?
Yeah.
And that was over the course of
8 years.
8 years you've met with him many times?
Yes.
Just to go over the case and what happened?
Yes.
And then you said Adam. Who is Adam?
Dawson.
Okay. Is that the private investigator that works for the firm?
Yes.
For Mr. Levine?
Yes.
And then each time you meet with them, do they ask you questions about the case and go back through the facts?
Yes, and me asking questions about the case.
Okay. And you provide them any information you remember?
Yeah,
Do you know if any of those conversations ever were recorded?
not to my knowledge.
And you were never provided any, other than these 3 reports, were you ever
Correct.
provided any more than 3 reports to review over all those many conversations?
No, just those 3.
Okay. One moment. One thing I meant to ask you, after all this happened, you said you stayed at Deborah Obad's for a while, or a couple days, I think you said. Then where did you live?
We went back to the house.
Okay. So you were back in the house with your sister, Isabella?
Yes.
And now, after your mom got arrested, where did you live?
At the house.
And who stayed there with you?
My aunt and my grandmother.
And that's Anna, again, your mom's
Yes.
sister?
Yes.
And how long did they stay with you?
They stayed with us on and off for like 3 years.
I mean, you're over 18, so you were fine in the house?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, you sold the house and you moved out, correct?
Correct.
Not you, but the house was sold.
Yes. Correct.
You and your sister moved out. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was in 2000, was it 17?
18.
18. And where did you move?
To the Avalon Apartments in Woodland Hills.
And was those apartments the ones owned by Deborah Obad?
She doesn't own apartments.
Did she ever rent you apartments or a place to stay?
Yes, I just moved out of that house.
Okay. So how long did you live in Deborah's rental?
I think 3 years.
All right. So do you remain good friends with Deborah Obad?
Yes.
All right, she's been a good family friend to you
Yes.
and your sister? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Tough topic, but up until your mom's arrest, tough topic, did you ever know that she was having an affair with Robert Baker?
No, not until her arrest.
When she went to Vegas, Myrtle Beach, those places, did you know that she was going with a male or a boyfriend or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay. I'm going to go through, if I may mark. A series of text messages. And it is 18 pages. I'm not going to do every single page. 18 pages. It's text messages between Jessica and the defendant.
That'd be 2:30.
Oh, 2:30, yeah. All right, I'm just going to go through a few of these. Putting on page 1. All right. First of all, let's talk about, I'll get it clear. Okay. February 8th, 2017, we're starting from the time frame. Did you text message your mom basically at the number associated here, your mom's number, 818-424-4213, and your number being 818?
Yes.
Okay, and is it fair that you had text messages spanning with your mom between June 9th of 2017 through February 8th of 2017?
Yes.
And that's going to be texted on? All right. This text up here, starting with June 8th, 2017, this is 2 weeks after this happened. Your mom's telling you under no circumstances answer the phone, or if anyone texts asking if we're okay, you say I'm asleep. Nobody. Okay, got it. I'm sorry, is this upsetting you? I'm sorry.
No.
I know. We'll go through this.
I was
I'll go
waiting
through
for the
this.
question.
I'll go through this. Okay.
Objection, Your Honor. The comments are inappropriate.
It is.
I'm sorry. I apologize. This message, was your mom telling you not to talk to people?
Not to tell anyone our business, essentially.
Okay. Anything more that she was telling you about?
No.
Did she, well, let me move on. Okay. So now as we're going through the text, page 2, and I'm not going to go through them all, but page 2, is there many times, is it fair to say during that time frame between June 9th of 2017 and February 8th of 2017, I'm sorry. February 9th of 2017 and June 9th of 2017, I keep misspeaking, that you were often texting your mom asking where she was late at night.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you concerned about your mom, or were you concerned about you?
Concerned about my mom.
All right. Was that unusual from what happened before the murder for your mom being out late at night like that?
Yes, but I believe that was how she was grieving, because I was out every night as well.
Okay. Your sister? No, though, right? Page 2 up on the screen. Your mom texted, if anyone calls or texts, don't say you have a friend there. Either don't answer or say you're just hanging out. Nobody's business. Let me move up a little bit. And was this along the lines of what you testified to? This is February 19th, like don't tell anyone anything?
Yes, because everyone's calling us every day, asking questions, wanting to know things.
And what kind of questions were you told not to answer?
Nothing, just what it says here.
Okay. But what were you told not to talk about or not to answer by your mom?
About what
Objection asked and answered.
about like what the detectives are asking or saying and stuff, because everyone keeps bothering us when we're grieving, and so my mom's telling us not to talk to anyone.
All right. And then starting in February 20th of 2017, we're about 3 weeks or 4 weeks after your dad's murder, there's some text messages about when are you coming home, right? And your mom answered, and this is about a little bit after midnight, answers late. Is that a yes?
Yes.
And then again the following night, and this is the back of page 2, when are you coming home? And your mom answers, you, my mother,
Yeah.
right? And then she tells you she's at a comedy club, and you say, no, I'm a concerned daughter.
Yeah.
What were you worried about?
That's just making sure she was okay.
And then the back of page 4, again, we moved to February 25th, a few days later. Again at night, around 11:18 at night, you asked your mom, when are you going to be home? Late, and you're asking her, and she says, yes, be smart, close gates.
Yes.
Is it fair to say she was going out pretty often?
Yes.
Back of page 5, again, now we move to March 4th. You're asking her again, are you going to be home late? And she's responding, you, my mother.
Yes.
Now, were you and your mom getting along at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're literally joking there.
All right. And page 6, you said, I just want to know. And your mom wrote late with exclamation points. Right?
Yes.
All right. And then we went through some texts with your sister, but on March 5th, 2017, you're texting your mom again at 10:30 at night. And are you talking about Isabella being scared and mad?
Yes.
All right. How are you handling Isabella at that point?
I felt as being like the mediator between my mother and my sister.
Were they not getting along?
They were getting along, but Isabella's at that age was very sensitive, and everything we were doing she had something to say about, so I was trying to mediate between both of them. So don't worry about Bella saying that to mom.
Well, you said that Bella was scared to be in the house.
Yeah.
Did you ever tell your mom, like, hey, stay home with her?
Yeah.
And what'd your mom say?
She'd stay home.
Okay, but she went out a lot too.
Yes.
Okay. Back of page 7. Again, now we've moved to March 18th, 2017. Are you going to be home late or like kind of late? And your mom says, don't know.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yep.
So it's fair that you didn't always know where your mom was.
Correct.
And then March 30th, a few days later, again, when are you coming home? And your mom responds, why, you a cop?
Yes.
So is it fair that most of the time you didn't know where your mom was?
Correct.
All right. Then on March 31st, there's a text message again. You're asking your mom where she is. And she says, too many teenagers here. I'm asleep at Sheila's. She lives here in Woodland Hills. I'm already in my PJs, going to leave soon. What time you done? Do you know if your mom slept at Sheila's?
I don't know.
Did she come home that night? Do you remember?
No.
And then again in March or April 21.
No, this is cumulative.
I don't allow this.
April 21, 2017, you're asking your mom, where are you? And this is, again, 7:15 at night, and she says, Melrose, gonna have dinner, then karaoke. Is that something that you knew your mom to do, karaoke?
No.
Did she tell you she was going to karaoke a lot?
Yes, as we just saw right there.
All right, and then it follows into the next page when your mom asks you why, and you said, I'm just asking you, the police.
Yes.
Okay, and this is again March 25th, 2017. Same reasoning, you're just asking because you're worried about your mom?
Yeah. Wondering where she is.
Your Honor, that's April, not March.
April 25th, 2017. And then she says, no, I'm the mother, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Were you frustrated with your mom at all for not being home?
No.
And then on May 3rd, 2017, Do you remember her sending you a photo and she said belly dancing?
No. I see it here, but I don't know
Yeah,
the
I know,
picture.
it's a hard picture to see. Do you remember her being in Las Vegas, going to Las Vegas in May?
Yes.
Did she tell you about a party she went to where there was belly dancing and it was someone's birthday?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you know whose birthday it was?
No.
Did you know her to be with Rob Baker at that time?
No.
And then again, it continues back into page 15. We're in May 5th, I'm sorry, June 3rd of 2017. It continues, are you coming home? And this is around 2 in the morning. And she said, on my way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I know, we're going through a lot. I'm almost done. And basically, those series of texts were somewhat frequent.
Yeah.
All right. Leading up to the right before the arrest, there's a conversation that you have about your car, correct? Where's your car? This is June 9th of 2017. Is that right?
Yes.
Is this when your mom went to Toronto then and you were home?
I don't remember.
Well, she'd flown to Toronto, correct, for
Yes.
a ward,
Yes.
and then she came back right before she was arrested, right?
Yes.
So when she left, her car wasn't at your house?
I guess not.
And did she tell you, is that what you asked her, does Rob have it?
Yes.
And she says, yes, it's at the shop.
Yes.
I told you, and then I'm on a flight, or I'm in flight, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is that when Rob was taking care of her car at the mechanic shop?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second.
Thank you very much. Hello, Jessica.
Hey.
Jessica, in reality, you kind of grew up with me, didn't you?
Yes.
I became your mom's attorney shortly after her arrest in 2017, right?
Yes.
And we are now in 2025.
Yes.
Okay. You've done a lot of things since then, haven't you?
Yeah.
How are you doing now?
I'm doing great now.
And what are you doing?
I have a great job. I live with my boyfriend. I have amazing friends.
Hold on a second.
It's
So you're doing a lot better than you were back in 2017 when your dad died.
yes.
Let's get one thing straight. What have I told you about testifying in court?
To tell the truth.
Have I ever told you to lie?
No.
Have I or Mr. Dawson or any of the defense team ever told you what to say?
Never.
So over those 8 years, on 3 occasions, we sat down and asked you if you could remember what happened
Yes.
regarding the murder of your father.
Yes.
Correct? And the first date was shortly after the arrest and prosecution began, right?
Correct.
And then the case started lasting far longer than anybody thought,
Correct.
with COVID in the middle.
Yes.
So after a year or two, we came back and asked you if you remembered anything differently than you stated before, or if you still remembered what was there, and you remembered some new things and other things you did not, correct?
Correct.
Did you always answer truthfully?
Yes.
Did we always show you the report that Mr. Dawson prepared and asked you if it was accurate and correct?
Yes.
And was it?
Yes.
And if it wasn't, did you tell us to change it?
Yes.
And you've testified here today to a lot of things you said happened and a lot of things you said did not happen, correct?
Correct.
Have you done your best to tell the truth about everything?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before January 23rd, 2017, before your father's murder, can you describe how your father and mother, how the marriage was?
I tell this to everyone. My mother and father were the epitome of what a loving marriage was. and what I strive to look for in a partner, and they're the best parents.
And husband and wife?
Yes.
Did you ever notice anything that caused you to believe that either one of them wasn't in love with the other one?
Never.
And how were they as parents?
They were great parents, both of them.
Specifically Monica, how was she?
Mom was an amazing parent. Dad was away a lot, so Mom was the one who was always there for us, taking us places, helping us with homework, there for us emotionally more than my dad was. I love my dad, but he was gone all the time.
Okay. Now, I take it you had no idea until June 14, 2017, that your mom was having an affair with Robert Baker. Is that
Correct.
right? Up until then, you thought he was just someone she played racquetball with and had become kind of a friend, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, he was around you a lot, you realize now.
Yes.
He showed up at a lunch one time. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Took care of your car and your mom's car a couple of times.
Yes.
Did he appear to have some knowledge about cars
Yes.
and some mechanics that he worked with?
Yes.
At that time, did you think anything suspicious about your mom's relationship with him?
No.
When she said she was going to trips to Las Vegas or Myrtle Beach, I assume she didn't say she was going with Robert Baker.
Correct.
You thought she was going with friends of hers.
Correct.
Now let's talk about interviews with the police, first of all. Between the time of your father's death and your mom's arrest, there was a period of about 4 months, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall how many times the police came out and interviewed you or your mom?
A few times. I don't know the exact number.
Right? And were there times when they called and spoke to you?
Yes.
And at any of those times, did you refuse to answer their questions?
Never.
Did you always meet with them when they said to meet with you?
Yes.
Cooperate with them when they asked you questions about that?
Yes.
Was there some concern that your mom expressed about the pace of the investigation and why they couldn't solve it?
Yes.
Can you describe that?
We all were feeling that way. It wasn't just Mom, but we were all feeling, where are the answers? How?
Objection, speculation,
As what we were all feeling, sustained.
and objection, hearsay.
So ruled.
Let's start with you. How are you feeling
No.
about the delay in finding out who did this?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Did your mom express concern or frustration with the pace of the investigation?
Yes.
Did she ever talk to you about insurance?
No.
Did she ever express to you concern about insurance?
No.
In fact, you were one of the named beneficiaries, right?
Correct.
And when did you eventually get your share of the life insurance proceeds?
After my mother was arrested,
And what did you use them for?
to pay rent and bills.
Let me bring you back to the date of your mom's arrest. Before I do that, we were talking about the relationship between your mom and dad and the relationship you all had together. Did you give us a couple of photographs portraying the type of relationship your mom and dad had?
Yes.
Can we show those, please, Your Honor?
How many are we talking about?
Your Honor,
Two.
it's two short videos.
Let me see your cell phone.
May I approach?
Thank you for your patience. At this time, the defense may continue.
Your Honor, I think we asked permission to show two videos to the witness and the jury, if we could do so.
Use that mark first.
Yes, that's a good idea. What's our next one?
Your next is 620. And these are via what?
CDs, Your Honor, two separate CDs. Mark, the first video is 620 and then the second video is 621. Your Honor.
No, both B, 620, A and B.
Understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't understand anything you said. Jessica, can you see this first video?
Yes.
Can you put it in context, where and when that was taken?
Yeah, we're in the kitchen. My grandmother's visiting this trip. This is December 3rd,
What year?
2016.
Maybe we play it?
Yes.
And the second video, Your Honor, may that be marked? Has that been marked already?
Sorry, Mr. Mark, sir.
May I play, Your Honor?
Could you identify first what this is, Jessica, if you know, and when it was taken?
Yeah, this is my mom and dad dancing in the kitchen, and I'm not sure if this is also December 6th or 3rd, or if this is in October.
It was 2016.
16.
May we play it?
Please.
Thank you. Jessica, was this commonplace among your dad and mom in the years leading up to his murder?
Yes.
And is this what you meant when you characterized it as a marriage you thought was perfect?
Yes.
You eventually obviously learned it was not
Correct.
on your mother's side.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. But first I want to go to this last interview of yours. You cooperated every time with the police, did you not?
Yes.
And in fact, this last interview, some of the pages of which were used to refresh your memory, took place on June 14th, 2017,
Correct.
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Correct?
Correct.
And it took place where, if you know?
At my home, the Queen Victoria house.
Okay, and
the kitchen table.
present was Detective Chuck Knowles, Knolls, and a Detective Sanchez and a Detective King, along with you and Deborah Obad and Anna Larson, correct?
Anna Larson wasn't there; it was on the phone. But yes, correct.
Okay. And the purpose of this interview was what? What were you told?
And they had called. I was at school originally, and they had called me to ask me more questions about the day of the murder. And so I went home and they were already in my house, which I thought was weird. I didn't know they were at my house. And there was detectives all over the place, all over the house, and we were at the kitchen table.
Okay. But initially, they did not tell you anything about your mom or Mr.
No.
Baker being arrested, did they?
No, not at all.
In fact, for the majority of this interview, which covered 98 pages, they continued to ask you questions about the murder, correct?
Correct.
Where you were, right?
Yes.
What you remember about Baker,
Yes.
about Baker and his cars,
Yes.
about going to racquetball.
Yes.
So questions as similar on the same topic that you had been questioned numerous times before by the LAPD, correct?
Yes. Correct.
And all this time, you found out they knew that your mother had been arrested.
Correct. They were lying to me.
And you even asked, as you were during the interview, what's going on? How's the investigation going? Remember that?
Yes.
And you recall one of the officers saying, yeah, it's just that they're looking for more leads. So you and your sister and your mom here, they're just looking for some more leads. The same thing they've been telling you for 4 months, correct?
Correct.
And then they continued to ask you questions, correct?
Correct.
And then do you remember how it was finally at the end of the 90 pages or so, they told you about your mother?
Yes.
How?
They just flat out said it. They said your mother is arrested. And
And your response was, oh my God, oh my God.
yeah.
Okay. And following that, without going through it all, the rest had to do with where you were going to go, who was going to care for you and your sister, and all sorts of things that would obviously occur with your mom now in jail.
Correct.
So as we said, your mom was arrested and taken to court. Remember that?
Yes.
And then I was retained to represent her, correct?
Correct.
So in terms of contacting me or my office, weren't you contacting for the most part to find out what was going on with the
Yes.
case?
Yes.
When we were going to court,
Correct.
when the trial would be,
Yes.
how your mom was doing,
Correct.
all sorts of questions that had nothing to do with the facts of the case.
Correct.
Is it fair to say that the vast number of contacts during those 8 years was either how you were doing or how your mom was doing or scheduling?
Correct.
And you realize now, as the jury has found out, that the trial was continued numerous times, and we are now 8 years since the time of your mother's arrest.
Correct.
We're finally in trial. Is that right?
Yes.
During any of those times when you were interviewed about the facts of the case, did you ever lie or make something up?
Never.
And have you told the truth here today?
Yes.
Now, after the murder and before the arrest, what was the relationship like between you and Fabio's family?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
After your dad was murdered and before your mom was arrested, what was your relationship and that of your sister and your mom with the Fabio's family?
Objection, speculation, and all this.
It's been brought out in the people's case in chief. It's overruled.
This is before the arrest, but after the death, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. The relationship was as it always had been, a normal family. They came over to California for the funerals, and when we would go there,
They supported you?
Yes. Yeah.
Appeared to do whatever they could to help you and your mom get along and recover. Is that correct?
Correct.
By the way, can you describe what your mother's demeanor was the night of the murder when you first came home and saw her?
Yeah. When I first came home, she was in shock. She's crying. She's screaming. She has tears. She's talking nonsense. She was in a whole other state of mind. And in the ensuing days, she's sad and carrying his sweater and crying.
Did she keep his sweater on the whole night?
She kept that sweater for like weeks.
And she even wanted to sleep in their bed that night, correct?
Yeah,
But you were not allowed to do so?
correct.
What about your sister, Bella, who had discovered the body? What was she like?
She was in shock that day, and she never speaks about it.
And did this last a while, your mom's condition after the death of your father?
Yeah,
Did she ever appear to you to fully recover?
no,
Okay. Now, you had no idea that your mom and Mr. Baker were having an affair, is that correct?
correct,
But you did know she was going out and so forth, right?
correct.
And what was your attitude again about her going out after your father's death?
I just thought that was how she was grieving because I was doing the same thing.
You were going out as well.
Yes.
Not to show any disrespect for your father.
No.
And did Bella react differently?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Yes, she didn't want to be home alone. But we were out, so she would get mad at us. And now when I'm older, I was very, very rude to her at that. But I was 18, and I didn't want to be home. I wanted to be with my friends, and
was she going out as well?
here and there she would, yeah. But most of the time she stayed home.
Okay, so you were shown a series of text messages today. Obviously, they accurately reflect the exchanges between you and your mom,
Yes.
and some involving Bella.
Yes.
Can you tell us what your attitude was at that time?
I was just trying to keep the peace between everybody.
Meaning you, Bella, and your mom?
Yeah.
And how were you trying to do that?
By making my sister feel heard in certain circumstances, or making my mom feel heard.
Guilty?
Huh?
Feel guilty?
No, feel heard.
Oh, okay. I mean, guilty for what going out and not being
Right.
home and so forth?
Right.
Yes. And how was Bella taking that?
she was upset.
And you were trying to be the middleman, is that right?
Correct.
Council, let me interrupt this time. Take our lunch recess until 1:30. The admin replies, don't discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't discuss any opinions of the cause. It's finally submitted to you. See you at 1:30.